Hello and good evening. Today it is Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. And for this video today, I will be sharing my thoughts on the recent announcement the Cincinnati Bengals have made that they are finally getting new uniforms in 2021. In my opinion, this is great news. It made my day when I heard it. And this is some long overdue good news from the Cincinnati Bengals, because I think they should have replaced their uniforms, these ones here, years ago. So now, as the Cleveland Browns, their division rival, have finally stopped making us have to look at their collegiate crap that they wore for, I believe, 5 seasons in its entire run. The Browns this past season, they finally fixed their uniforms, and in fact, the year they actually finally fixed their uniforms, they went on a bit of a playoff run for the first time in forever. So to now see that the Bengals have decided, hey, maybe it's time for us to fix our uniforms as well, it's long overdue. Obviously, it's a matter of opinion, I know, but in my opinion, at least, the Cincinnati Bengals have had some of the worst uniforms in the NFL for a very long time. So, basically, where should I start and begin? I think I'll go with a picture a little more recent. I'll go with this one here. So, as you can see, the Bengals uniforms, they're very busy, and in my opinion at least, they are a bad product of the mid-2000s and a Reebok leftover that should have been changed much sooner than this. But I'm just happy at this point that at least we're going to see something new from Cincinnati. But you see this side-paneled, overdone mess. I mean, you've got the drop-shadowed, relatively modern number font, and you've even got the Cincinnati Bengals B logo between the collar and the numbers. It's just not a pretty uniform at all, in my personal opinion. And this is their orange alternate that they've been wearing for years as well. It's rather meh, in my opinion. It's the pants, the uniform, the side paneling. I have never liked these uniforms. And here's another photo here that's not in as good of quality, but see what I mean? It's really, they tried to be modern back in the mid-2000s. I believe they went to these uniforms around 2004, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, back when they first went to these uniforms, you can tell they tried to be as modern as they could for that period of time. And it just is not pretty. This is the first photo I showed you earlier. But you see, the Cleveland Browns on the left and the right, they fixed their uniforms. They look 1,000 times better than the collegiate garbage. And yes, that's how I felt about them, still do, that they wore for 5 seasons. See, they finally got rid of them. They went back to their best uniforms, and the only uniforms I think they should ever have. They should never touch them again. And if they do, one change I wouldn't mind seeing is bringing back the original orange and going with the original block letter and number font. But as they are now, I'm happy with them if they never changed them again. But you see, back to the Bengals. You've got all this drop shadowing, and the player names are in an orange shoulder yoke on their away uniform. It's just not a good look. And do I think they're going to go as far back as when they first joined the NFL? No, I don't think they'll be doing anything like this, and thankfully that helmet is a relic of the past, and so it should be. But you see, this uniform style here that they wore when they first joined the NFL, I don't know about you, but when I see these pictures from a distance and I'm not fully paying attention, they remind me a lot of their division rivals, the Cleveland Browns. But then, and I'll go to these. These were their uniforms that they wore throughout the 1980s, the 1990s, all the way through to the early to mid 2000s. And by the end of the 90s, I believe, and feel free to once again correct me if I'm wrong, that's when they decided to add the, I believe it was the 90s when the Bengals added the full-bodied Bengal tiger logo on the sleeves of their jerseys. So you see, this was their jersey style for a long time before they went to the current mediocre uniforms they've had since the 2000s. And there's the black one there. And I must say, you know, you've got this helmet that is completely unique that nobody else in football has. You've got this unique uniform style. You've got the unique striping on the pants, which I'll be honest, I could do without the pants striping, and I could live with something a little bit simpler than the Bengal striping on the pants. But you know, you look at this uniform and you look at the white jersey, the matching white jersey, and you see the unique striping on the jersey. You see the unique style and you see the traditional look of it all, where they went with a simple uniform style with a unique Bengal tiger inspired twist. And not only are these relatively simple, but they're nice looking jerseys. They're very nice looking. And, you know, I really do hope that the Bengals go back to these uniforms. I'm hoping that's what they essentially go back to. And thankfully, after seeing the Patriots jerseys and the LA Chargers new jerseys unveiled and worn for the first time this past season, you know, I'm optimistic that the Bengals could be another Nike redesign that isn't a total dumpster fire. And sadly, I do feel that the Rams and the Falcons did a bad job with their new uniforms, especially the Los Angeles Rams. And I know not everybody agrees with me on that, but, you know, hopefully the Bengals are going to go in a more traditional direction because, in my opinion, and I've been saying this, if you've been listening to my weekly roundup podcasts for my regular viewers, I have been almost on a weekly basis throughout this past NFL season, I've been saying over and over again, Cincinnati needs new uniforms, and thankfully they are going to be getting them this coming season. So, with the Bengals, I've heard so far that their iconic, unique Bengal tiger striped helmet is sticking around, which I think most of us can all agree on one thing. That is a decent looking uniform. Or, I mean helmet, sorry. I meant to say helmet. But everything below the helmet will be changed. So also, I'm going to show you viewers a photo of the Bengals Color Rush uniform that they've been wearing in recent seasons. And if you take the helmet out of the equation, in my opinion, obviously I know of the Siberian tiger that's white with black striping instead of orange. I mean a white tiger instead of an orange tiger. If you take the helmet out of the equation, honestly, this reminds me more of a uniform designed for a team called the Zebras. I mean, I hope I don't get too much flack for saying that, but you know, this Color Rush uniform has always reminded me more of something more that is more appropriate for a team called the Zebras rather than the Bengals, because I get the Siberian tiger reference, but without the helmet, it needed orange. But anyway, I want to get into what I want to say here about the Color Rush jersey. Notice the more traditional block font. Also notice the lack of god-awful side panels. I think that, you know, I would not be surprised if we end up ultimately seeing the Bengals go more in the Color Rush direction rather than more of a traditional direction. I'm thinking that their new uniforms are probably going to be a blend of their current uniforms and the Color Rush jersey that you see here, where their new away uniform will essentially probably be this with hopefully a lot more orange on it besides the Nike logo on the sleeves. And hopefully without that B logo between the collar and the numbers. I really do hope that the Bengals get rid of that moving forward. But I'm predicting now that I think the Bengals are going to go more in the Color Rush jersey direction, add orange to this jersey here, go with the matching black version and an orange as a third jersey, an orange version as a third jersey. But I'm going to show you a concept that my longtime viewer, Windy City Hockey, recently sent my way. And this is his idea of what a new Bengals orange jersey could look like. And I would not be surprised, Nick, if you're watching this, that this is probably going to be close to what some type of new orange third jersey will look like. I'm thinking that the Bengals will give us a black jersey, a white jersey, and a new orange alternate. And if they do go more in the color rush direction, I'm thinking they will unveil an orange jersey that's a lot like this. It looks so much better than their current longtime orange third, in my opinion. But something else about the Bengals, too, that I want to mention as well. I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me on this, but I would actually like to see the Cincinnati Bengals wear orange as their primary home uniform. Wear orange at home instead of just a third jersey, which I don't think they'll ever do it, only because of the fact that they've been wearing black as their primary home color for so long. But I actually think the Bengals could do an orange uniform that actually looks really nice and would be an amazing home jersey. And when they play in the AFC North, where they play in the same division as the Steelers, who wear black and gold, you have the Ravens who wear purple and black, and you have the Browns that wear dark brown and orange. I think if they wore orange as their primary color, I think it would also help them stand out a little bit. But I actually made a few kind of guesses as to maybe what we could see the Bengals do as well. So there's something, I don't know why, but I would not be surprised if we actually saw Cincinnati do something entirely new as, say, maybe a so-called color rush jersey, because I don't know, teams like the Chargers seem to be unveiling color rush uniforms, even though I thought the color rush program was dead. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did something new, like maybe an all dark gray uniform. But I don't think that's what they're going to do. But as an alternate uniform, that would not surprise me. Another thing, I'd like to actually see the Bengals go back to this style. But because of the way the jerseys are made nowadays, where they are a lot more form-fitting than they were before and a lot tighter on the players, I would not be surprised if they went in a direction like this, but put the numbers on the sleeves rather than numbers on the shoulders and the full-body Bengal tiger on the sleeves. So I think something like this would look good too, and I hope the Bengals go more in this direction rather than the color rush direction, to be honest. But see, this was my idea of kind of maybe an orange jersey that the Bengals could do. I think something like this could look really nice as a primary home jersey. And also something else I think would be amazing too is if the Bengals took their orange helmet and tried inverting it where it was a black helmet with orange Bengal tiger inspired striping like this. I think something like that would look so cool. But you see, I think if the Bengals even just went back to their 80s, 90s, and early 2000s uniforms, that would be by far and away the best direction to go. But yeah, no, I thought I'd show these as kind of my guess of what maybe the direction the Bengals could go in, which I hope they do, because I think they should go back to those old uniforms they had before they ruined them in the Reebok years. But, even though I think, unfortunately, we're probably not going to get a return to this style, I do think that we will get an upgrade that's probably more along the lines of this color rush uniform and my viewer Nick's concept here. And I'll quickly pull it up right there. So if that's an alternate jersey, something close to this with hopefully a lot more orange as an away jersey and a black home uniform with lots of orange accenting, but much cleaner than their current home uniform, which I think all four of their uniforms are not that great, especially their main three. The color rush is at least a lot cleaner. At this point, I think that I would just be happy to see the Bengals improve their uniforms. But basically, to wrap this video up, I'm thinking that the Bengals, to be honest with you, are probably going to go more in direction where they clean up their uniforms and create new uniforms more based off of this color rush jersey and uniform you see here, rather than something a little bit more old school like their 80s, 90s uniforms, which if I had my way, they would just go back to those. I think those are by far and away the nicest jerseys the Bengals have ever had, and it's not even close. But overall, it's going to be interesting to see what the Cincinnati Bengals do. I mean, I can't believe that they're actually going to be getting new uniforms. This has been so long overdue. And honestly, I cannot wait until they unveil these new uniforms. I'm actually really looking forward to this. But anyways, on that note, folks, I'm going to call it a wrap on this video. What do you think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to go with moving forward? I'm hoping they go more in a throwback direction. I really do. But if they go in a direction more based on this color rush jersey, I think we can all agree on one thing. At least it will certainly be an upgrade over the horrible uniforms they've been wearing for far too long. And their helmet is sticking around, and let me tell you, that's one part of the uniform that should always be a part of the Bengals' identity, at least in my opinion. But anyways, on that note, folks, that's a wrap on this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and until my next video, take care, and as always, bye for now.